So, Assetto Corsair Evo.
Evo. Sorry.
It's always going to be Evo for me because I'm not Italian. This video is twofold. One, a very quick guide to getting your MOZA R5 kit configured so you can get into the game sooner. And two, why I think ACC now feels a little dull after comparing the M2s amongst other things. Why is every game first time setup such a ball ache? Who knows? The good news for us is that the MOZA R5 was detected straight away, so we can jump straight into that. Select this and run through all the usual assignments for brakes, throttle, wiggle the steering wheel, gears up, down, TC and ABS adjustment buttons, etc. One thing here that was pretty pointless was the look behind, which doesn't seem to work properly at all. So with all the basics in place, I crossed my nuts and wanted to jump straight into the game. So once I'd put the ignition on and started the car, obviously it was all wrong first time because the pedals were inverted. Not sure why that would be the case by default. Please comment if there is some logic behind this nonsense. Easy fix for this, of course. Go back to the settings, hit the throttle, brakes, clutch if you got one, and hit the invert axis button. All done. So off we pop out of the pits, hoping to actually enjoy this game and start playing it properly. But the steering angle's all over the place, so attention to detail there. Back to the settings we go. Jump into the steering, figure out the steering lock just to double check. This one's 1080. Jump into the pit house software, which is trying to do its thing and automatically detect it in game, and it's done a bit of a dog's dinner of that. So set it to whatever you found in the settings. 1080, perfect. Right, for the final half of this I want to cut out all the usual review crap and focus on the important stuff. What would I want to know if I hadn't played ACC Evo yet? How does it compare to other titles, and where's the fun stuff at? When I saw the car lineup, I headed straight for the M2s at Imola. For me, that's where the fun stuff should be at. Challenging circuit, all that business. Personal preference. I drove a handful of ACC races with the M2 to mix things up a bit. With ACC, the cars are steady, you can stand on the brakes everywhere, and you can get into a robotic groove of very little drama lap after lap. In contrast, the ACC Evo equivalent is immediately more alive, twitchy in all the right ways, and will kill you if your power delivery and braking isn't on point. Far less robotic, and if you're not fully tuned in, mistakes will come. This is great for close racing, meaning competitors are more likely to make mistakes, and overtaking opportunities will be more common. Now, this isn't widely mentioned, but if you compare sim titles, the braking is one of the most distinctive characteristics. In ACC you can get away with 100% braking from high speed down to something slow at MOZA for example. In other titles 100% braking from high speed will immediately cause lockups, cause you problems. Evo, really nice middle ground right now. The car will squirm nicely, which you feel through the wheel, giving that acute sense of rear tyre grip loss. Really like it. There's far more craft in finding the limit, nailing the slip angle, really satisfying. And with ACC Evo, the braking is now a major point to master. The more time I spent with the M2, the more I realised how massively effective the braking was for car rotation. Firstly, force feedback, so far so good, and currently a decent baseline of things to come. As with race rim and thrustmaster software, I like the option of gear shift force feedback introduced, quite like it. And currently no force feedback indicator, so can't really gauge the clipping yet, but it'll come I'm sure. Game performance wise, my PC spec is in the description below, and the game doesn't run too badly. After a handful of races it does seem to get a bit jumpy and something hogs the memory, but a quick restart of the game and it's back to normal and will no doubt get sorted. AI and general in-game stuff, some interesting pile-ups and behaviour, and 100% difficulty seems to come out at 97%, bit odd. Kind of feel that 100% isn't quite competitive enough for the M2s and needs tweaking, and a hot tip: when starting the race the fuel doesn't decrease, so just run the minimal. In summary, I work in software and development, and a pre-release should demonstrate a solid gameplay foundation, which I think we've got here. The game feels completely different to ACC, and some of the positive characteristics remind me a little bit of Rennsport. Sense of speed is up there, and I like the edgy style of racing the physics bring. Is it worth getting right now? In my line of work I quite like checking out new developments, providing feedback. I'm quite happy to support Kunos. They've always grafted, honest with where they are, and a contrast to many other studios that aren't always run the way we'd like to see them run. And on that note, that's all I wanted to cover today. There's more to come. Cheers.